Alright, so today we're going to be talking about systems of equation, specifically solving them with substitution. There's multiple ways to solve systems of equation. Today we're primarily going to focus on just substitution. So there are a handful of steps that you have to follow. Step 1, get a variable by itself. So you have to isolate a variable on one of those equations. Step 2, you want to plug that equation into the other equation. Step 3, solve for that variable. And then step 4, plug that variable in and solve for the other variable. So let's say we have 2x minus y equals 2 and 2x plus y equals to 6. Alright, so the whole point of systems of equation is to figure out where these two lines cross each other. And by using elimination, or by using substitution, we can figure that out. So with substitution, you have to get one letter by itself. It doesn't matter which equation you choose. You just gotta pick one of these equations and get a letter by itself. So I'm gonna choose the bottom equation. Y is kind of by itself already. It just has this 2x that's in front of it. So we have to cancel out 2x. So the way you cancel out a positive 2x is by subtracting 2x on both sides of the equation. So y equals negative 2x plus 6. So it doesn't matter where you put the 2x. I stuck it in front. You can put it in the back, it doesn't matter. So now that we have our equation where y is by itself, we can take that, plug it into the other equation where y is. So you always have to plug it into the opposite equation. So what that means is you're going to have 2x minus, and then instead of that letter y, you replace it with negative 2x plus 6. And then you have equals and 2. Alright, so everything is the exact same except for the letter y. You replace it with what y equals, which is negative 2x plus 6. So now we have to distribute the minus sign and solve for x. Distribute. So 2x, negative times negative is positive, so plus 2x. Negative times a positive is negative. So 2x minus 6 equals 2. So now we're going to combine like terms. So we have this 2x plus 2x to get us 4x. Minus 6 comes down, equals 2. So now we need x alone. So we're going to add 6 on both sides of the equation. So we have 4x equals 8. And then we divide both sides by 4. So x equals to 2. Alright, so after you finish solving for one letter, we're going to go on to step number 4. We're going to solve for the other letter. So the way you do that is you take what x equals and you come back, plug it into one of these equations. So it doesn't matter which one you choose, they all give you the same answer. So I'm going to choose this one here just because that's what the arrow goes to. That's the easiest way to draw the arrow to. So I'm going to plug in 2 into the x, so y equals negative 2. Instead of x, I'm going to put a 2 there, plus 6. So negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 6 is 2. So our answer is x first, then y, 2, 2. They both happen to be the same. Most of the time it won't be. But make sure you always put x first, and then y. Alright, so let's try another one. Let's say we have y equals 6x minus 11, and negative 2x minus 3y equals negative 7. So with this problem, if we look at our first equation, y is already by itself, so that means we can take that, plug it into the other equation where y is. So we're going to have negative 2x minus 3. Instead of y, we replace it with 6x minus 11. And then we have equals negative 7. So now we got to go through and solve for the x letter. So distribute, combine terms, and isolate x. So negative 3 times 6 is negative 18x. Negative 3 times negative 11 is positive 33. Equals negative 7 at the end. Combining like terms. Negative 2x minus 18x is a negative 20x. Drop down our plus 33 equals negative 7. So from here, to cancel out a positive 33, we have to go through and subtract 33 on both sides. So minus 33 on both sides of the equation. So negative 20x equals Negative 7 minus 33 is going to be a negative 40. Divide both sides by negative 20, and x equals to 2. So I'm going to take this answer, x equals to 2, come up here, plug it in one of these two equations. So I'm going to choose the top one. Y is already by itself, it's easier to solve for it. So y equals 6. Instead of x, we replace it with 2, minus 11. So 6 times 2 is 12. 12 minus 11 is 1. So your answer is x first, then y. So 2, 1. That's where these two lines cross each other. Right, so let's try another one. Negative 3x plus 3y equals 4, and x plus y equals 3. So I'm going to do the same thing again. Get a letter by itself. So you can choose to get whatever letter you want by itself. I'm going to take the second equation and get y by itself. I find it's easier to do that because y is already kind of by itself. It just has this negative x attached to it. So I'm going to move this negative x to the other side by adding x on both sides. So y equals x plus 3. So now that y is isolated, we just have a y alone. We're going to take it, plug it into the other equation where y is. So then we have negative 3x plus 3, parentheses. Instead of y, we're going to put x plus 3 in that spot. Equals to 4. So from here, distribute and combine terms, then try to solve for x. So when we combine terms, well, let's distribute. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 3 is 9. Combining terms, you have negative 3x plus 3x, that's 0. So all the x's go away. You have 9 equal to 4. So now you gotta look and see if this is a true statement or not. There's no more x's, so you got to look at it. So 9 does not equal 4. You gotta analyze it. It doesn't equal 4, so that means it's no solution. If you have the scenario where you get like 0 equals 0 or 5 equals to 5, then that's called infinite solutions. If you get a statement that's not true, then it's no solution. Alright, so we'll do a couple more. 6x plus 6y equals negative 6. 5x plus y equals negative 13. So if you want to pause it, try it, go ahead. But I'm going to take the bottom equation and get y by itself. So y is almost alone. It's, again, still has this 5x in front, so we're going to move it away. You don't always have to solve for y. You can solve for x if you want. You can solve for y. It really does not matter. Whatever you feel like is the easiest thing for you to do, you get it by itself. So with this one, y is the easiest to get by itself, so I'm going to move 5x away. So to cancel out positive 5x, you got to subtract 5x. So that's what I did. Subtract 5x on both sides to cancel it out. So now that y is by itself, I'm going to plug it into the other equation where y is. Alright, so we end up with this. So instead of this letter y, we replace it with negative 13 minus 5x. So same steps again, distribute, solve for x. So 6 times negative 13 is negative 78. And then 6 times negative 5 is negative 30. And you got x equals negative 6. Combining like terms, you get negative 24x minus 78 equals negative 6. So the 6 minus 30 gets you the negative 24x. 6x minus 30x is negative 24x. Negative 78 comes down, negative 6 comes down. To cancel out a negative 78, we got to add 78. So that gets you 72. Negative 6 plus 78 is 72. Divide both sides by negative 24. That gets you x equals to 3. So I'm going to take that. Alright, so I plugged it into this equation here. So you get y equals negative 13 minus 5 times negative 3. Simplifying it, you get 13 plus 15, and that's 2. So your answer is negative 3, 2. Alright, so one last one. So we got 2x minus 3y equals negative 1, y equals x minus 1. So same thing, y is by itself, so I'm going to plug it in. Again, it doesn't always have to be y. This example just happens to have y ready by itself, so I'm going to plug y in. Sometimes x is by itself, sometimes it's y. So you get 2x minus 3 parentheses x minus 1 equals 1. So again, this y equals x minus 1. I'm going to put it in here where y is. Nothing else changed. So I just erase y and put x minus 1 in that spot. So distribute, combine like terms, and solve for x. So then you have negative times positive is negative 3x. Negative times negative is positive, so positive 3. Combining these, you get negative 1x. Drop everything else down. Subtract 3 on both sides, so negative x equals negative 4. Divided, x equals 1. And then plugging it back in, I'm going to choose this equation. I feel like this is the easiest one, so I plugged it in. 4 minus 1 is 3, so the answer is 4, 3. Hope that helps. We'll do elimination in the next video.